Good afternoon, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate, Victory Guns! And I'm a failure because on Friday I think I forgot to give my usual weekend sign off of I won't have a video for you tomorrow because I take weekends off. So please pardon me for my failure in formatting. That was alliterative, woohoo. And the reason why I'm uploading in the afternoon today rather than the morning is my now usual excuse of I was writing, so that's a thing. And I like writing because I like reading. And as I said at the beginning of this series, read, because A, it makes you smarter, B, reading is actually proven to make you more of an empathetic person, and the world could use some more empathy. Please. All right, so today I would like to address the book Heidi by Johanna Spyri, that's her name. And I wouldn't like to talk as much about the book as about a prominent theme of the book, which is that of pastoralism. All right, so this book has a comparative plot to The Secret Garden. The girl, Heidi, the main character, lives with her grandfather in the Alps in Europe, and, fresh air, open plains, well, not plains, mountains, but, she's always getting exercise, she's always out in nature, she consorts with the animals and makes friends with them, and she is then sent to the city where she befriends a girl named Clara, who is, unlike Colin in The Secret Garden, actually Clara is unable to walk. She's been a wheelchair user for her entire life. So it is determined by Clara's caretakers that it would be to the benefit of her health to go with Heidi to the Alps, to be out in nature and to see the sights and to breathe the good air. And I swear that within 6 hours of being on the mountain, Clara is magically able to walk. As I said in my last video, this is called magical thinking. This is also a manifestation of the cure narrative. But that's not the theme I want to talk about today. The theme I want to talk about today is called pastoralism. All right, so for any of you non-English majors out there, pastoralism is the glorification of nature and of its various elements through literature, through music, through any given art form. But the whole idea behind pastoralism was that during a time of greater industrialization, people were becoming much more separate from nature. And people were also believing that by becoming more separate from nature, they were becoming more separate from God as well as from one another, because people, they didn't have these tight-knit communities that were all built around the same principles. They had much more expansive lives that weren't just built around farming and self-sustenance and, food. That's a big one. Food is a big one because as humans, we take in communally, but we put out individually. So in other words, you eat with your family, but you go to the bathroom on your own. Okay? It's always been that way. But when it came to further and further industrialization, as people became more separate from the means of what kept them alive, so from their food, from their flocks, from their fields, and in some cases from their families, because families would be forced to work long hours in dingy, dusty, dirty factories with unsafe living and working conditions. As this continued to go on, people began to see a dearth in spirituality as well as in physical health. This is addressed in American literature by the Transcendentalists, and you'll see this all the time, therefore, in people like Henry David Thoreau. I love Thoreau. But the problem with relating pastoralism, which is itself not inherently a bad thing, relating that to disability and saying that nature and the connection thereto is the thing that will make you better. As I said before, there is scientific evidence to show that being in touch with nature can help with your mental health. But when it comes to the case of Clara in Heidi and her complete inability to walk transformed in the course of hours, or at least of a single day on the mountain, she's magically able to get up out of her chair and walk around and participate and play with her new friends. And that's magical thinking. That is very religiously motivated thinking. I've got no problem with religion, but when you say that it will produce miracles for you if you just do one thing, or, just in the blink of an eye, A, that doesn't work. B, that is flatly against science. C, it is yet another manifestation of the cure narrative, which is an extension of biblical thinking, which in turn says that you are not a fully whole or fully capable human being if you have a disability. I'm going to get to a book later on in this series in which the main character presents one of the most beautiful, eloquent lines about disability that I have ever read in any book. She is offered, literally by magic, the ability to be healed of her disability, and her friend who is able to heal her says to her, "I can make you whole." She has one look at the kid and says to him, "I am whole." It's this complete embracing of the totality of her identity and the fact that this thing has made her strong. This thing has made her who she is. Like I say, I will address this later, but it's very important to realize that just because you may have a disability, it does not make you less of a human being. I'm very emphatic on this point because I don't believe that either religion or science or any other field has the right to say you are incomplete or you are not us because of this one thing. That's master statusing, that is dehumanizing, and I'm not for it. You guys know I'm not for this. So that's the most prominent theme in Heidi, and as I say, there is a spiritual element to this, but there's also the matter of, back to nature, out of the industrial world, all these movements that were taking place around the world at the time of the Industrial Revolution. I'm not saying that technology or industrialization are necessarily bad things or necessarily good things. It all depends on how you play with them. So, in our world today, how can you play with the environment you have and see how it plays into your life as well? Because I commonly talk about the nature of symbiosis. We are an organism in an environment, and the environment is part of our organism. The one could not exist without the other. So that's my video on Heidi, or loosely about Heidi. And tomorrow I will be back with another book. I have to find which one it is because I do have a list, but I can't remember what order they're in. So I'll be back tomorrow to talk to you about another probably good, but probably problematic, wow, that's hard to say, work of disability-related children's literature. All right, thank you for your attention and participation. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye! Mwah!